Jeremiah is an 8 Don. I mean, that's insane rank. I
Fairly
want to ask him
standard
how he earned
opening.
8 Don.
This move, not so standard. And I'd say the reason why is, black has some options here. Of course, blocking is a good idea, but we can also attach. So if the opponent plays like this, we can get into this position.
But,
Black has options here. You could even Tanuki, but this is usually one of the options. So ideally, your opponent wouldn't jump here, because then you would get the corner. So usually this is not a move that people play. Blocking's fine. It reverts to a Joseki. This not so much. There's Samaji here. Later, black can play this, or you'll have to deal with this. Right. So this isn't really a fun thing to have, and if you descend, we have to deal with this, or in some cases, if you don't have the ladder, block and cut. Most of the time, this would happen, and then you're left with 2 cuts here. So usually, just defend like this. Black plays either high or low, and then white gets sente, or depending on your playstyle, you may be a little bit more aggressive in capturing territory. Okay, good move. I think it's best to just play normally. So like this, you can come back and play here, and this slightly defends the cut, or you can play this one. You're playing a little bit farther from the 3 stones, but in compensation wise, you kind of make the top side easier to play with. 7's also a good point in terms of splitting the side. So you have 2 here and then 4 here. Allow your opponent to break into this side, but you capture more territory on the left. You're also defending the weakness here at A. So like this would be good. That's one way of playing. You could play this way, but then you're breaking with 3 and 3, which means your opponent has ability to break in here. On both sides, you have this Aji still, so it's a little bit troublesome.
I would have played that.
But I
move,
think you can get away with something like this.
So the
You
idea
could
of
probably even play here
overextending.
and then get away with this. So this would be, 2 and 3, but you would have Aji at A later. So it's really up to your play style.
The idea of
In this case.
overexpending and just creating a good attack for
Okay,
your
and then you
opponent
need to connect
sounds
here.
cool
So
because you can
like
expect the
this,
attack,
we can
right?
defend, but black is
It's
going
cool.
to ultimately get the outside. If you do haunting, your opponent plays like this. You can take the large point, the opponent plays here, and then the game continues. But once you cut and you play the Atari, it's best to connect. So your opponent plays here. You can either Tanuki or come back and defend. Here, this is kind of tragic. You need to come out because now, well, not right now, but just blocking is fine. So like this, I think black can just play here, but also taking is fine as well. Potentially, this does have some risks, but it doesn't look like it matters. For example, white can play here, black would give up the stone, and then later there is a ko. But actually, this is a move, so there is no ko. But black should be able to seal with this type of move. So when black takes, black should definitely defend with 1, and then you can play this on the outside, and then take this ko shape here, because now you can come back and play stuff like this, and you're hurting white's corner.
He's going deep in these variations.
So here, white should defend either like this, or here, black needs to defend, and then this becomes an attack. You don't actually have to play there, you can still just approach, and then when white jumps out, you would just have to play elsewhere. For example, play here or play in the corner. Sometimes you can just defend. Very stylistic choices, but I think the correct way to play here is this. Okay. There is some issues with this.
DY Baduk. Hey yo.
Yeah, so
I had
one of
that up to
the
21,
things
but
to
I
look
wasn't
for
sure.
is stuff like this, right? You want to uh, be able to capture these stones, but there is some issues. However, I think even if there is, we can still save our stones, like so.
Tombstone, Tetsuji.
So another reason to not play there locally, you can actually just give up the stones as is, and then later come back and push and cut.
Increase
I'm
the
not sure if
sacrifice.
white has a refutation, just because we can throw in and then connect. If white connects, this would die,
Yo yo.
because we can play the
Milan's
Hane.
on. What should
One
I
thing
ask
I
him?
do, I think, just this is not a good order. And the reason being is white can connect at 3, so we must throw in first and then connect this way. White can't connect this way, and if white connects here, we can take. So white will lose some points, and you can gain
Oh, sorry guys.
your
I mean, I
cornerstones
feel
back.
like I'm taking it in the
So it would have been
middle
a good
here.
idea to push through with one.
Yep.
For white, I would probably recommend something like this. Excuse me. And depending on the ladder here, which
I'll
it
just
looks like
move
it hits the
this to
start
the
point,
other screen you guys can't see.
we do need to. There is a squeeze,
That way
so
I'm not
potentially
bugging you.
black can squeeze on the outside. It's not a very good squeeze in my opinion. So maybe play the Atari and then go here. White comes back, plays the Atari, and then black needs to defend like this. So white would get the corner and Sente, and black would get the influence. This is probably a little too deep for 10 Qs, but this is the kind of stuff that you guys should really look into. When you're playing, this is how you improve your game, is with deeper reading, right? So a move like this hurt your chances with, playing here and potentially giving up the 3 stones with this move. And as for white, playing this move, you kind of lose your chance with, black being able to play here. So in the game, black was able to take the corner. Very nice. This move probably not needed. If let's say you just take this, right? Black takes, you can descend. And, ooh, actually, yeah, the net works. So in this case, you can probably just get away with something like this. And then this is an L+1, so you're not alive locally in the corner. Okay, I take that back. Maybe this move is okay. There is some issues, right? So if there's a ladder breaker for black and black pulls out, you do need to come back, and then black can block, right? So potentially just playing here would have been better, and then you could slide or you can connect. but I would agree. I would have to say that R15 is probably not the move anyone should play. So you do need to be mindful of the Aji that exists around this ladder. Okay, so black pushed immediately. That's a little odd. You lost all your Aji. You know, potentially with, you know, something like this, you can attach. Sorry, you can approach. And depending on how white plays, right? You know, maybe white plays like this, and then you can start bringing the stone out, and the ladder works for you. So you would get moves like this in. I'm not even sure this really works, but you know, if black's able to cut first, think later, there's potential issues. So we need to be very careful. As far as black goes, you should not remove the Aji that exists there. The potential doesn't do anything right now, but that's the whole point of Aji. It exists to be potential. Okay, attaching. Makes sense. Here you can just Hane, because now you can play the Atari and then just extend. So you can play here, they take, and then you have this move. Arguably, you should just play here. And like this, white can live, but you get the outside, and the corner is hurt. So sometimes, you know, taking this is good because you're getting all these points here, but you know, when white gets to play this move, it doesn't really help. But if you play normally, as the joke just like he says, white lives small, and you're hurting the bigger group on the board, which means you have potential to, you know, build this kind of bottom area. Okay, so attach. White should probably just play here. There is some ambiguity in the corner here. Like for example, potentially this this is painful for white, but there is some things we can do. For example, if we're able to play here, throw in here, Atari, and then connect. Black will have a hard time playing this way.
That's pain, true pain.
So playing one would be nice, and then getting this. We do need to defend some way somehow, but there exists that black is going to get the outside.
So in 5 minutes, they're gonna do my game.
This is what should happen in the game.
Essentially, the reviews
white
are 20
just
minutes
gets
long.
cut, and here you just block, and then there's two options: you can Hane or you can just connect. Connecting would mean that white could use the stone later to, you know, reduce potentially. So like, let's say you attack, white can use the stone to build some sort of shape. If you Hane, this means later when white plays the Hane, they can get, you know, some sort of Aji going. For example, now you need to come back and connect, and white can just give up the one stone. So it's kind of a pick your poison type of thing. But black should just Hane. This Hane, probably not so good. So even if you do this now, first of all, white's going to play here and then play this. So you got nothing in the corner. Not to mention, you know, white can play here first. Probably here, and then I don't think black can play this one because of this clamp, which means white's going to get more liberties on the outside. So there's no real way to attack the corner in this way, and even if you play here, again, white will be able to play like this. White can turn, and if you try living in the corner, I think white's going to be fine with something like this. So it's very important that we play the correct way, but we can still make this exchange and then play three. The idea is if the opponent plays this way, we can play the ladder, or we can squeeze And this would be good for us on the outside. But stuff like this, we need to be a little bit more, what's the word? I don't want to say flexible.
Creative.
Yeah, creative. Thank you. You want to be a little bit more creative with the yachi. Like, this is a very direct move, right? And if white just plays here, then, the thing that you wanted to do is gone. If white just tanukis, right, and you do this, once you squeeze, white actually doesn't need to save the 2 stones. White can go back to, building the bottom, potentially, threatening the corner here, or, building both sides now. So when we're being creative, it's always a good idea to build while threatening. That being said, this is just the better move, because now you're actually competing the top side and the left side with the bottom here. And I know Shaldi and Knight did not play their game, so I guess I can go a little bit longer with these ones. Okay.
All right, so my
Bahane,
review's not
so
coming
big,
in
right?
2
Your group
minutes.
is alive.
So
there's 2 areas
maybe
being built
it'll
for
be 10, but
for white, so
it's
maybe
coming.
we just need to
It's coming.
play here, and we're kind
Still,
of getting
this is
into the
interesting.
business of breaking into an area. So now we can threaten the 2 stones, or if white decides to go for the bottom, we can attack this stone now. And the idea is, if our opponent plays like this, we can reduce the side points. We do lose some points in the corner, but it's par for the course when we need to reduce. If you try saving the stone, you'll be split. So keep that in mind. A more conservative way of doing this is something like this, but you do run into issues where you need to now protect. And potentially white gets both sides, which isn't what black wants.
It's painful.
So we kind of just gave white both sides. White should play here. And when black plays this, we can start attacking the group. But you should never directly touch a strong group. I would say the three stones plus the diagonal is pretty strong. We should just play this way, and then when the opponent attaches or turns, we can play for the side that we want to. For example, we can play like this, build the right side. We do have to worry about this group, so maybe 3 is not the right move, and we can play here. Or maybe our opponent plays like this, but because we didn't touch the stone directly, we can surround the 2 stone,
Like
or even build the right side like this.
Yesterday, right? We were reading the
So
attack and
for
defense
black,
book. Maybe it's 2 days ago. You don't want to touch the group that you're attacking.
we should play here directly instead of playing
break of fundamentals.
go-to moves.
Huge no-no.
Okay, we cut directly, but there is an issue here. So like this, actually, I mean, white will just play here. And even if you do get something like this going on, first of all, this is three liberties to 5. White has more liberties, so the shared liberties are better for white. And if you play like this, right, white can still just play here. Or, if white cuts, you can't even play here because white has the first move, and if you play here, there's really nothing. So if you connect, white's already winning this fight. So cutting directly is not the move you should play. You should actually play here first, and then jump. If you really want to, play to build the area, maybe something like this. But I think jumping first is better because when they play here, you can threaten to do this, and when they come out, you can jump out. Otherwise, if they block you, you can threaten to make life locally. kind of just put yourself in a position where you can run or live. It's very important when you're invading. In this case, it looks like you're attacking, but your group is too weak comparatively. So you need to be careful. We could Hane, but there's some issues, right? So we get away with this, but we lose everything on the bottom. Maybe this is okay. Or we can connect here, but white's going to be able to Nuki and play on the bottom. So you reduce the outside influence, maybe you can get something in the center. It's a very stylistic approach, whether or not you want to reduce or invade and live. I'm going to have to say whatever happens on the bottom here is kind of going to determine the game here. Technically, black should die, but it looks like he won't. Yeah, okay. So
That's what
this is very
game,
good for black, and white could have prevented
Marty.
this from just attaching. Is there any questions about the game?
No, thank you. I appreciate the review. I thought once I had captured those 3 stones, I was going to win, but I lost by like 4 or 5 points. I just couldn't chip away enough.
Wow.
Oh no, you should be winning at this point.
At that point, yes. I might be.
Okay, so here, you have a couple of options, right? Like you can see the vector lines. We no longer need to play from this group. We don't need to play from this group anymore.
Okay.
Instead, there's 2 options you can do here. You can push and cut.
Build up the Maya
to build the top side, or you can play here to grow your own area.
The Maya on the center is
right.
huge.
So instead of looking at just your opponent's areas, you need to consider your own as well. And there's some other things, right? Like we need to know some end game stuff, right? So like this Hane is pretty good. We can actually get this in Sente. We can get this D15 in Sente. So force the opponent to actually, let's say, for example, we do some endgame, right? So the opponent's forced to play here, and then we come back here. If they try to defend, so be it. But eventually you can jump in here. You also have this in Sente, so we can reduce, from the outside here, and then I feel like in this position we should be winning.
If white doesn't play g4, what would happen? If you don't mind me asking.
You mean the 4 move?
Yeah, sorry.
So let's say white decides to build the area, right? Well, first we're going to cut, and then we're going to play here. And in this case, the idea is we're going to go for a ko. So if they play here, this doesn't work because we can kill outright, right? So they need to, whoops, they need to play here, and then we can play this move, which means the corner is gigantic. So we'll have a ko later, right? So we can make the exchange for 5 first.
That's cool, guys.
And then we can come back to reduce this area because 4 is, it looks big, but if we're able to reduce the opponent while potentially leaving a ko later, that's pretty big. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thank you. That's cool.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So I mean, generally, I would say Holy, you should probably just rewatch this review a couple of times when it's uploaded, so that way you can.
Yeah, there's so many fast variations. I would have to
you
rewatch
can really
a few times to absorb.
Get into the details because there's a lot going on in this game, and some shapes that you could really learn.
Yes, I was surprised by by White's moves in many corners, so I have to look at it again.
I think this is the wrong game he has up.
I understand. I also am surprised by my opponent's moves when I play at tournaments, so it's not just you.